Liberals get caught lying again, this time in Parliament, in writing about their attempts to censor Canadian social media posts. And then CBC is forced to admit the network has been pressuring social media companies to censor others. Today, I'll show you the documents. Today's tale of Orwellian government censorship in collaboration or maybe even collusion with social media companies was uncovered in an order paper question posed by Conservative MP for Niagara West, Dean Allison. Allison asked for details and data across all federal agencies, ministries, and crown corporations about any time the feds contacted a social media company asking for user content to be taken down or altered. To be clear, this is the Canadian government pressuring private social media companies to censor users for saying things that the government didn't like. And as it turns out, the feds, including the CBC, were leaning on big tech a lot to shut up their critics. Now, the order paper response covers January 1st, 2020 to February 7th, 2023. Let's take a quick look at it. On page 75, we see that Health Canada, at least 3 times, say they contacted Facebook to demand the removal of posts with, quote, disinformation in them about COVID restrictions. Disinformation about lifting of COVID-19 restrictions. On page 78, the Public Health Agency of Canada, meanwhile, is busy policing, quote, offensive language on Twitter. No wonder they weren't ready for the pandemic. Page 89, the IRB, so the Immigration Review Board, demanded posts be taken down by Facebook and Twitter for linking to a Toronto Sun story because it was risking undermining public confidence in the independence of the board. They wanted to censor critical news articles about the IRB. On page 110, CBC, the state broadcaster, can be seen pressuring social media companies to censor content, but CBC refuses to disclose the censorship details. The CBC admits they've made requests to pull down content of others multiple times to various social media platforms, but what they wanted to be censored and to whom that content belonged is hidden by the unaccountable recipient of at least $1.3 billion in taxpayer subsidies. It's funny that CBC says it would just be too hard to provide the information, yet departments that deal with actual security issues like the CBSA or the CSE, they're able to provide the information. Just look at the CBSA list on page 124 compared to CBC saying it just wouldn't be possible to answer the questions being asked of them. On page 116, the PCO, so the Privy Council Office, says they never made such requests to censor user content on social media. But of course, we've seen the Public Order Emergency Commission documents where the Privy Council admitted they were making such requests against the convoy attendees and participants. Now, this is not the first time the Privy Council has not been forthright about requests made by the federal cabinet's bureaucratic helper team to censor content. They told us in a previous access to information request that they had no such documents relating to requests to remove social media posts. So now they're not just lying to us about what they're doing, but they're lying to Parliament in this order paper response. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. Rebel News routinely fact-checks the federal government through access to information filings, although it is expensive and time-consuming to constantly file for documents, fight to get the documents, and then read the volumes of redacted documents they do eventually send us. If you'd like to help offset our research costs, please consider making a donation at our special research fund, rebelinvestigates.com.